Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have Satya Yoga joining us again. Miss Frankie Hart, welcome back. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, Jill.
Great pleasure to see you here. Pleasure to have you as always. And for those that may not know, let's talk a little about yourself, your company that you own. And again, satyalife.com is the website, SatyaYoga.com, right?
Actually, Satya Life. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
Satya, and then you got the rest of it right.
Thank you.
life.com. Yes, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Please introduce yourself to everyone today.
Thank you, Jill. So my name is Frankie Hart, and I am the owner of Satya Life Yoga, which is a yoga and Tai Chi center in downtown Lakeland. We offer all levels of classes every day of the week. And one of the beautiful things now for the last few years is most of the classes are available as well in a hybrid format on Zoom. So I have students from all over. I just did a workshop Saturday on a topic that we've been talking about with resiliency. And I had students from Illinois and Alaska and New York. So it's really a beautiful way that we can connect together.
Perfect. Well, thank you for being here. And what did you have in mind? There's so many to your services and what you do. Did you have an idea for our show today? What topic?
I do. I want to talk about Tai Chi and about some of the benefits of it. I ran across an article online from Harvard Health, and they had this beautiful quote that I thought we could dive in from. And the quote goes like this. They say, Tai Chi is often described as meditation in motion, but it might well be called medication in motion. Now, Jill, it's my kind of medication. As people who know me, I really, I don't take any medications. Of course, I would if I needed to, and I'm not saying people should not, but I am a big proponent on doing everything we can to have preventative medicine in our life and have more life-sustaining energy, so we can live without having to have so much medication.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And one of the things that's wonderful is so many of my students who come to me a year later, they're so happy to say they're on half of their medications. That is just real joy. And I know their doctors are just as excited.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It's so true.
So we can be a real active player. In fact, we want to be the most active player in our healthcare, right? And so often in our culture, we tend to surrender that to other people. I don't feel well, so I'm going to go to the doctor, I'm going to go to the chiropractor, I'm going to go to the massage therapist, I'm going to do all of these things. They're all wonderful, but how can we be the first person on our own team for improving our own health and happiness? And this article, I thought, did a really beautiful job at highlighting a few things. So one of the things is that the research is out right now because, thank goodness, a lot of people have been interested in studying the effects of Tai Chi and Qigong. So the research is showing that the Tai Chi is very proven to show advances in treating and preventing many health problems. And one of the most important things for our elderly is their concern for falling. And often a fall snowballs into greater issues, right? So they have a fall, then they go into the hospital, then more and more things happen as they have to immobilized, they're not moving, that affects their digestive system, they're in the hospital, they're exposed to other things, right? So prevention of fall is really important for us at every age, but especially for our elderly population. So one of the things I want to start at right away saying is you can start Tai Chi at any time, at any
Yeah.
time. I was in my 20s, in my early 20s when I started, but you could be at any age at all. And you don't have to be extremely fit or even particularly healthy. I have students of all ages and health spectrum. Sometimes we start with Tai Chi practicing even in a chair or a wheelchair.
Oh, gosh. And it's true, though, that movement can help So many people, you hear miracle stories about simple movements and breathing and
Yes.
relaxing could do miracles, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to break down four of the aspects that this Harvard Health article talked about how Tai Chi helps us. So just as you're saying here, so the movement is low impact, so it's safe. We do it in slow motion, which actually slow brings strength. It's something I'm always telling my students, we slow doesn't necessarily mean easier, although it is gentler in the beginning, right? But as we learn to practice more slowly, we actually develop more balance and strength. You don't need any special equipment, just some comfortable clothes. And we cultivate that natural, slow, deep breath, Jill, that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
So, because of this, a growing body of research is building, showing that Tai Chi can be an adjunct therapy to medical care, right? So the first thing that we're getting at here as we're developing is muscle strength, muscle strength. We all know that with inactivity, our muscles atrophy, right? We see it just as simple as, you sprain an ankle and 6 weeks later, or you break a lower leg bone, you look at the back of one calf, you look at the back of the other calf, you could be 16 years old and you're like, whoa, they don't look the same anymore. So without our use of our muscles, without the use of our body, our muscles weaken. And so Tai Chi helps us build strength in both the lower and upper body. You could say it even builds core strength for the core, back, and abdominal muscles. This is really important because as we're practicing, many people in their daily postures or they're walking, I love to watch
All right,
people, right?
posture. Oh gosh, I'm sitting here like all hunched over, but I feel guilty. All right, all right.
That, Jill, that's the perfect thing to say
Mm,
because we lean forward, right? We
yeah.
lean forward, we wrap around the computer, we wrap around the steering wheel, we wrap around our telephones, right? And so in this leaning forward, again, our back strength that just it becomes stretched rather than strengthened and toned. And so in Tai Chi, we use something called the sky hook, where we imagine that the head is suspended from above. And that, isn't that a beautiful image? I see you doing that as we're talking. That just naturally brings space to our organs and an elongation to the spine. The other thing that Tai Chi brings is flexibility. And at first you might think, well, how does Tai Chi bring some flexibility? Because in Tai Chi, you see that the movements are very circular. So you're not getting extreme extension like you would in, say, other disciplines. But you're working in a way that is promoting this beautiful movement through the joints. I have seen tremendous changes, particularly in neck and shoulder tension for people as they learn how to release these held tensions that are patterns, right, that we carry. And as we learn to relax the shoulder muscles and it's a phrase we say in Tai Chi, sink the elbows. So we relax the elbows like they're floating down, the forearms are floating down. We start to be able to articulate the hand and the forearm and the elbow as separate movements from the shoulder, and the shoulder separate from the neck. So we're disentangling this kind of cultural tension where the shoulders are creeping up. But also, the Tai Chi movements help us with our lower body flexibility. So stiffness in the SI joints, in hip joints, low back, and certainly the lower leg. If you do Tai Chi, you learn, very quickly how tense most of us are in our calf muscles.
Aw. Yeah. Now you got me thinking my whole body feels so out of whack.
Well, so that brings us to balance, and that's the next part. So balance, we can think of it as a language. I like to say that balance, just like a language you learned in school, if you are not practicing it regularly with your movement, you're not as fluent, right? So we want to practice, and again, practicing can start at any time. In the Tai Chi forms, we have something called a T-touch, which you can use as you're learning some forms. So you touch the toes down as you're transitioning the weight from one foot to the other,
Yeah.
especially if it's a longer stride. And then eventually you might not need that T-touch in some forms, but it's often still used. It's just empty. And this concept of an empty step is made possible when one leg is full and one leg is empty, which is by nature what we call a balance, right?
Yeah.
But the Tai Chi also helps us balance the mind. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. There is one other thing about balance first, and that is that as we're flowing in the Tai Chi, we're using our peripheral vision. So, as the set leader, so often if I'm teaching the class, I would be the set leader, and the students are following this, this beautiful rhythmic meditative flow of movement. So as they're following, they're tuning in, like a mom does, with the peripheral vision, and just changing that mindset of our gaze from a hard, fixed, forward gaze to the peripheral vision helps us start to shift and improve our balance, as well as come into a quieter state of mind. So that's a really interesting thing. You'll notice when someone is relaxed, their eyes are different than when they're really strained or hyper focused on something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we get to experience some of that. The other thing is aerobic conditioning. Now, you could say in the beginning, if a person is not very fit, aerobic conditioning will come right away, right? Because aerobic conditioning is a spectrum. So if someone is not used to even standing for an hour class, right? That, standing and moving, that's already improving their aerobic conditioning. And then once you learn the forms, the 24 short form is the one that I teach here at the studio. And that would take a little bit more than 5 minutes. So that's a continuous progression of movement for 5 minutes. And then in time, we'll maybe do that 4 times in a row. So you see the aerobic conditioning of doing something like that so continuously.
Yes.
And then if you're practicing longer and doing more advanced forms, you start to sink something that's called a snake, which is a beautiful deep lunge down. It's called snake creeps low in the grass, and just bringing your body that low and coming back up, or the high Tai Chi kicks that many people have seen, right?
Yep.
Those you'll certainly feel your breath starting to deepen and enhance there. So, Jill, these are the four that Harvard Health mentioned. But for me, I thought as I was reading it that those are four really important ones, and they're kind of easy relatively to measure, right? To research and to
Okay.
measure. But the fifth one that actually I think is the most important of them all is to be able to establish a quietness in the mind.
Mm.
Yeah. That's a little harder to measure. But why is this quieting the mind so important? Well, we've been talking about the importance of soothing stressed nerves, and how if we can soothe our stressed nerves, we can change the chemical factory of our body. We can no longer be in a chemical factory that's pumping out all this adrenaline and cortisol, creating inflammation and causing stress induced trouble in our body. And we can actually move into a nervous system that pumps out much, much more friendly chemicals to our body, like acetylcholine and things that help our tissues heal, help our brain function, right? So by coming into this quietness of the mind, not only are we soothing the tissues of the body, but we're actually helping brain function.
Mm-hmm.
So people often think of Tai Chi as helping brain function because you have to memorize forms, right? It can feel very complex to a beginner, like, oh my gosh, I don't know where I'm going yet, and I have to coordinate my hand and my foot and my arm and my leg. But it is also this quietness, this ability to get into a meditative state that does literally help brain function, memory function. And so it's wonderful for people who are dealing with wanting to prevent, say, they have Alzheimer's in their family, and also Parkinson's disease, right?
Wow.
So
Yep.
there have been a lot of research gone now into that. So this ability to quiet the mind also lets us to feel calm, which that's a gold right there, isn't it? To feel calm in our life, regardless of the stressors, and to clear the mind. So Alan Watts has a really beautiful image where he talks about uh, a spotlight and a floodlight in terms of vision. So the spotlight could be considered like, he gives this analogy like you're in the car, you're driving in the car and you're having a conversation with your friend. You're focused on the conversation with your friend. We could even make it an intense conversation, right? So you're very focused. That's the spotlight. I'm thinking about my conversation. But somehow, and we do this all the time, somehow we get to our destination. We stop at the red lights, we go at the green lights, we make the turns we need to do, right? We're driving the car, we're doing
Mm-hmm.
all these complex things. What is that intelligent force that's driving the car, right? Where is that coming from, that kind of light? And he talks about that as our floodlight. And the trouble is sometimes we get very identified, he says, with our spotlight consciousness. So I am the spotlight consciousness. I am only the person who's having, let's say, even an argument in the car. I am
Mm-hmm.
this person, right? But I
Yeah.
am also the person who's beautifully functioning and driving this car, where I'm going or walking down the road or doing all of these different things. So every part of us has this kind of intelligence that we want to, let's say, expand, an intelligence or a consciousness that we're trying to expand. In this, I bring this up because this analogy that Alan Watts is giving us makes me think of a conversation often I have with students who are new to Tai Chi. They're very concerned about memorizing the forms, right? Or I didn't get that form right. I had the wrong foot forward. I had the, I can't remember these on my own. We could think of that as the spotlight focus.
Mm.
And so we can get really caught up in that. But if we think of it instead as the floodlight consciousness, and this is a very traditional way of studying Tai Chi, if you go into the group, which is the class, right? So you have a group of people following a set leader. If you can surrender a little bit and quiet the mind down a little bit and flow, just following, using your provision, relaxing your muscles, relaxing your mind, and flowing with what the set leader is teaching you, I liken it to swimming with the dolphins.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow.
And then you start to feel that floodlight intelligence coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in a meditative state of mind. And then you don't really care if you've memorized or not memorized the forms because you're already in that Tai Chi state of mind. And I did have the privilege of swimming with dolphins once, and the thing that I took away from it, Jill, was how effortless the dolphin was. So here I'm holding on to this dolphin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this dolphin is just moving through that water so effortlessly, so seamlessly. And I guess I didn't know what to expect, but like if you ride a horse, you feel the movement of the horse and being on the earth, but somehow being in the water and that just effortless flow of the dolphin always stayed with me for a Tai Chi movement because we can liken to that if we allow ourselves to relax the body and the mind.
Yeah. Ah.
So, if I can, I would like to just finish with us doing a little bit of an example of what I did in my last Tai Chi class, which is when we struggle, we come into the opposite qualities of Tai Chi. We come into a feeling of feeling weak, we feel rigid, we feel like we don't have good breath support, we feel kind of stuck in life, and our mind feels cloudy or confused, right? So that's like a cocktail we don't want, right? So I would like you to just reflect on a beautiful affirmation of Louise Hay. So Louise Hay has this many, many wonderful affirmations. This is the one I've chose today. I am the power and authority in my own life. I am free to be me. I am the power and authority in my own life. I am free to be me.
Got it.
So now just imagine a moment, wherever you are, just imagine a moment where you felt strength. You felt an inner strength. There was some challenge, you felt this inner strength, and you were able to meet that challenge and move through it with a sense of accomplishment, a sense of success. And just connect with that moment in your life where you felt this inner strength that is your nature.
Mm-hmm.
I am the power and authority of my own life. I am free to be me. And now think of a time in your life when you actually were able to release rigid thinking. And by becoming just a little more flexible, a new perspective came, maybe a healing came in a relationship or some aspect of your own self. And as you connect with that, I am the power and authority in my own life. I am free to be me.
Mm.
And then think of a time when you felt out of balance, maybe overwhelmed or under supported. And then you found your way to balance and you feel, that sense of accomplishment. I am balanced. I am stable within myself. I am the power and authority in my own life. I am free to be me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just do one more.
Sure.
Think of a time when you could move easily. You had a lot of vitality. Often we go back to being our children, right? I could
Yeah.
run and play easily. My breath flowed freely. I felt easy with nature. This is this vitality. This is my lungs, running as far and as fast as I can, right? All that joy. I am the power and authority in my own life. I am free to be me.
Yeah.
And when we practice our Tai Chi in this way, we all of a sudden have greater focus. No longer do we feel the need to be competitive or comparative because, when you're enjoying your ride, you're not so busy thinking about what your neighbor's doing, right?
Yeah.
You just want to be where you are. And that's so beautiful because this ride is our life. And then we develop a greater sense of proprioception, where we are in space, which helps us balance, and interoception, how we feel within our own body, which helps us monitor our own health and well being. Our mind is clear. And all of those negative resistant thoughts just dissolve, and
Mm.
we are free to be me.
Yeah. Aw. Well, thank you for that.
You're
And thank you for
welcome.
sharing all that. So just remind everyone how we can reach out to you.
So the way to reach me is I work and own the yoga and tai chi studio Satya Life, and you can reach us at the website Satya Satya Life Life.com, or you can call us at 863-802 yoga, or email us info@Satya Life. And if you prefer to text, you can also text 863-802 yoga. We love for people to reach out and ask questions. So if you are concerned, like, is Tai Chi right for me? Is yoga right for me? What class should I start? I don't know how to set up a Zoom meeting. Can you help me? This is what we're here for. So please reach out to us. And if you have any concerns, we're here to help you on your journey.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And also, Satya Yoga, let me ask you, I mean, there's other things that you work with and the classes that, could you share a little bit more about the practice?
Absolutely. So at the studio, we've been here now in our downtown location for 18 years. And we have classes every day of the week. So 7 days of the week, beginner to advanced. I often say I have students both in the womb to in their 90s. So all ranges of life, all levels of healthcare. I work privately with people, both in the studio and in a Zoom format, which I love to do when people have a specific concern that they want to work with, especially if they don't yet feel able to move into a group class or want support as they're going into group classes. We have advanced yoga classes as well as beginning level. I do the aerial yoga work, which is so much fun, Jill. I think you would like that one. That's where you're up in that aerial swings and it is like being a
It
kid
looks so
again.
much easier than it is, though. Come on. Come
Oh,
on.
it does. it does. But there's a great way to build upper body and core strength, I'll tell you, and you'll have a lot of fun doing it. That is the only class that's not on Zoom, so you'll have to come visit us for that
Yeah,
one.
that would be difficult trying to do something in your own office or work. Yeah, but probably not the safest thing either.
Exactly, exactly. But now my yoga bar class,
Oh,
I do have Zoom students in the yoga bar class. And if that is something you're interested in, this is the kind of help that we really offer here. Don't just buy any bar online. You can call us. We'll help you find the right bar to get at home because you won't spend more money, but it will be a much more secure bar. I was a professional dancer, so I know where to go.
great. Well, thank you again for being here. Again, satyalifeyoga.com. Did I get it right this time?
You did perfectly, Jill. And
Thank
just to
you.
end, we also have a yoga teacher training program.
Perfect. Well, thank you again. It's satyalifeyoga.com. Great.
Thank
Thank you
you.
again. I appreciate it. You have a great day. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.